I had not forgiven my father in 31 years, and I died holding that. I was 55 years old, and I had a heart attack on a job site on a Wednesday morning, and I was clinically dead for 14 minutes. And in those 14 minutes, God showed me something about unforgiveness that I haven't been able to stop talking about since I came back. What he showed me changed everything. Not because it was what I expected, because it was nothing like what I expected. My name is James Okafor, and I am a construction foreman. I have worked with my hands my whole life, and I have prayed most of my adult life, and I thought I was a man who understood forgiveness because I had heard the sermons, and I had read the passages, and I had told myself I forgave the people who had hurt me. I believed that. I genuinely believed it. Until I died, and God showed me what forgiveness actually is, and what it is not. It was 7:40 in the morning. I was on site, reviewing drawings, drinking bad coffee from a thermos my wife packed. I felt something wrong in my chest. Not pain at first, more like a very fast pressure, like someone leaning on me from the inside. I sat down on a stack of lumber. I looked up at the sky. It was a clear sky. And then I was somewhere else entirely. Before I came back, God showed me 4 things about forgiveness that his people have largely misunderstood. And he told me clearly, "James, you are going back. Tell them what you saw." Well, the first thing I noticed was that I was no longer heavy. I do not mean that metaphorically. I mean the physical sensation of weight, gravity, mass, the constant downward pull I had lived with for 55 years, was simply gone. I was aware of myself, but I was not anchored to anything. And with that absence of weight came an absence of everything I had been carrying that I did not even know I was carrying. The low-level anxiety, the old angers, and the things I had pushed down and covered over with work and routine, all of it, gone. Not resolved, just absent. Like putting down a bag you have been carrying so long you forgot it was not part of your body. There was light, and with the light came what I can only describe as complete information, as if being inside the light meant knowing things, not learning them but simply knowing them, the way you know your own address. And in the center of the light, there was a presence. He did not look the way the paintings show. I want to say that plainly. What I encountered was not an image. It was a person, the most real person I have ever stood in front of. The realness of everything I had ever experienced on earth felt, in comparison, like a reflection of this. And he looked at me with eyes that had been present at every moment of my life, and found nothing in it that surprised him, and nothing in it that made him love me less. But that was the most disorienting thing about being in that presence. Not the glory, the unconditional, matter-of-fact, unshakable love. He said to me, "James, I want to show you something about what you have been carrying, not to condemn you, so that you can put it down." The first thing he showed me was a vision I will spend the rest of my life trying to describe accurately. I saw myself from the outside, the way you would see someone else, and I was standing inside a structure. It was not a cell exactly, more like a room I had built myself, brick by brick, over 31 years. Every time I had thought about my father and felt the old rage, I had laid another brick. Every time I had rehearsed what he did to me, every time I had told the story to keep the wound alive, every time I had said, "I forgive him" with my mouth while my heart quietly refused, another brick, and the room was substantial. It was real, and I was living in it. But here is the part that wrecked me. My father was not in the room. He had never been in the room. I was the only one inside it. He said to me, "James, unforgiveness is not something you do to the person who hurt you. It is something you do to yourself. You have been imprisoned by something he did to you 31 years ago, and he has not spent a single day in this room. You built it. You have been living in it, and the door is not locked from the outside." I stood there in that place, and I cannot tell you what I felt. And because I realized, in the way you can only realize something when you are outside your own life looking back at it, that my unforgiveness hadn't punished my father. It had only ever punished me. The second thing he showed me was something I had never considered. He showed me people trapped in complicated grief, people whose unresolved wounds were with someone who had already died, someone who had hurt them and then died before anything was ever said or settled. And those people were carrying a particular kind of heaviness because they believed that the door to forgiveness had closed with the death of the person who owed them an apology. He said, "Forgiveness does not require the participation of the person who hurt you." It never did. It is a transaction between you and me, not between you and them. The death of the person who wounded you doesn't seal the wound. It only means you must bring it to me rather than to them, and I can heal what they cannot. I thought about my father. He had died 6 years before my heart attack. We had not spoken in the last 5 years of his life, and I had told myself, without ever saying it out loud, that the time for resolution had passed, that the door had closed, and God showed me, with a gentleness that undid me entirely, that I had been wrong. The door had never closed. I had simply stopped looking at it. The third thing he showed me, and this one I was not expecting, was the weight that people carry from their own failures, not the unforgiveness they hold toward others, the unforgiveness they hold toward themselves. He showed me people who had genuinely repented, who had come to God with genuine remorse, who had received forgiveness in prayer, and then quietly took it back, went home and picked it back up, continued carrying the guilt as though the transaction had not been completed. He said, "When I forgive completely. There is no remainder. There is no asterisk. When you continue carrying what I have already taken from you, you are not being humble. You are disagreeing with me. You are telling me that what I did was insufficient. And James, what I did was not insufficient. Let it go. Not because you deserve to, because I have already paid for it. And it is done." I wept at that, because I had done exactly that, carried things that had already been forgiven, convinced that the weight was somehow appropriate, or that continuing to punish myself was a form of integrity. And he showed me that it was not integrity. It was pride wearing the mask of guilt. The fourth thing he showed me was the one that surprised me most. He showed me a layer of heaviness in many believers that was not unforgiveness toward another person. It was unexpressed, unacknowledged, deeply buried offense toward God himself. People who had prayed desperately for something important, a child's healing, a marriage, a rescue from ruin, and it had not come the way they asked, and they had never spoken the anger out loud. They had swallowed it, pushed it down, continued attending church, continued praying, but with a closed-off chamber in their heart that they never opened to God because they were afraid that admitting they were angry at him would mean they lacked faith. He said, I would rather have your anger than your performance. I can work with what you bring to me honestly. I cannot work with what you hide. If you are angry at me, tell me. I have heard it before. I am not fragile. I am not offended by your pain. I am the only one large enough to hold it. Bring the whole thing, including the parts you think are disqualifying. There is nothing in your heart that will make me stop being your father. But I need you to stop building walls in the same house where we are supposed to live together. He told me it was time to go back, and my only question was, why me? I am not a theologian. I am not a man of particular standing. I pour concrete and read blueprints, and I am not always patient, and I held 31 years of bitterness against my own father. I am probably the last person anyone would send with a message like this. He smiled, and he said, "Because you know what it costs. You know what carrying it does to a man. Tell them from inside the experience, not from above it." I came back to the job site, to the gravel and the noise, and someone pressing on my chest and blue sky above me, and my foreman's face, saying, "James, stay with me, James." And I lay there on that stack of lumber with tears running down the sides of my face, and one thought, I have to go home. I have to call someone I have not spoken to in too long. I have to open the door I thought was closed. I am 55 years old. I pour concrete for a living. I died for 14 minutes on a Wednesday morning, and I came back because I apparently have something to say. You are allowed to put it down. Whatever you have been carrying, the old wound, the dead person who never apologized, the thing you cannot forgive yourself for, the anger at God you have been too afraid to speak out loud, you are allowed to bring it to him. All of it. At once. Without cleaning it up first. He already knows what is in your hands. He is just waiting for you to open them. Oh, tell me in the comments, which one of these 4 doors is hardest for you to open right now? I read every one, because I know what it is to stand at that door for 31 years. You do not have to stand there that long. The room you built is not your home, and the door opens from the inside.